What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Infinite Warfare Epic Variant Reviews on BlackTideTV. Last week we had a Twitter poll on my Twitter page at BlackTideTV, spelt the exact same way as the YouTube name. There is also a link in the description, and the winner of that poll with a total of over 50 votes was the VOLK Goliath. So what is the VOLK Goliath? What is this weapon all about? The VOLK Goliath is more or less a marksman rifle variant to the VOLK assault rifle. Now, I'll say this, Infinity Ward is very, very good at making really underwhelming epic variants that completely change the anatomy and nature of a specific weapon without making it any better. So epic weapons in this game should be improving weapons. They should be the best, right? Epic variants. It's epic for a reason. It should be doing the most in terms of changing up a weapon and making it better. Most weapons in Call of Duty games fit into a niche area. So they're good at certain things and they're bad at most other things. The VOLK fits in there very nicely. The VOLK has a low fire rate. It's pretty inaccurate, but it has really high damage output, and that's what you use it for. When you can get your shots on target with the VOLK, you can completely destroy people. Now, the epic variant for this weapon doesn't really change that up. In fact, it only makes the weapon a little bit worse, a little bit harder to handle. Sure, you can get your shots on target at longer ranges a little bit easier because it is semi-automatic, but for the most part, you're not really improving the accuracy, you're not really improving anything that's wrong with this weapon, and you're not really boosting anything that's right about this weapon. So for the most part, the VOLK Goliath doesn't do much. Taking a look at our epic variant card now, we've got our two traits up there. First being the epic trait Spike, which increases the damage of the VOLK, but reduces it to a semi-automatic fire rate. So it can only shoot one shot at a time. You have to manually pull the trigger for each and every shot. The common trait is Focus, which reduces your idle sway while aiming down sights. There is no negative to that trait. So the reduced idle sway, you are 50% more accurate. You have 50% less idle sway. So when you aim down your sights, your gun won't be swaying back and forth like crazy, and it won't be swaying so fast because, I don't know, maybe the guy just knows how to control his breathing. I never really understood idle sway in these games. Like, some weapons you pick it up and the guy suddenly doesn't know how to breathe. It just doesn't make sense. Like, hold your breath when you're shooting a gun. You can hold your breath with weapons other than sniper rifles. I know, it's amazing, but anyways, moving into the epic trait here, this is the one that you all care about, the Spike trait. So this will limit you to a semi-automatic fire rate, instantly reducing the fire rate, the max fire rate of the VOLK from 483 rounds per minute to 273 rounds per minute. They couldn't even keep it at a high fire rate. That's something that isn't really mentioned in the weapon traits. They don't tell you that it's a semi-automatic, but it's also going to fire much slower. If this weapon had stayed semi-automatic, but you could still, work your trigger finger and shoot just as fast as the standard VOLK, then it would be 100% okay. It would be much better than the standard VOLK, but because of that reduced fire rate, it makes it very hard to control. In your close range engagements, enemies will be outperforming you. They'll be spraying you down. In your long range engagements, you can get the edge on some enemies, but even still, just because of the way that the weapon works, we'll get into that. But first, we need to talk about damage. So damage on this weapon, that's the big thing. That's the bonus, right? We're getting increased damage. It must be exponentially increased if that's the only good thing about this weapon. Not exactly. So the standard VOLK gets 34 damage up close and 30 at a distance, meaning a 3 to 4 shot kill in core game modes. The VOLK Goliath boosts that damage up to 56 up close and 46 at a distance, which seems like a pretty good boost, right? 56 up close, that's a 2-shot kill. 3 shots at a distance, but it's the range that's really important here. If you are at close range, say competing the VOLK Goliath against a standard base VOLK, the VOLK Goliath will get a 2-shot kill, the standard VOLK will get a 3-shot kill. At medium range, the VOLK Goliath drops off in damage a lot sooner than the standard VOLK. So the VOLK Goliath will drop down to its 3-shot kill before the VOLK, the standard base VOLK, will drop off to its 4-shot kill. So at medium range, at close medium range, and medium long range, the standard VOLK will outperform the VOLK Goliath. Finally, at longer ranges, the VOLK Goliath will take ahead again because the standard VOLK will drop down to 4 shots to kill. The VOLK Goliath will be a 3-shot to kill. So essentially, you are getting a little bonus to your damage, but it's really not worth it in the long run because the standard VOLK will outperform you in that area where you're in most of the gunfights in this game. If you didn't know, medium range is around the range that you're in most of your gunfights in this game. So it's only really good at very long ranges, because at close range the VOLK will still outperform you because they can just spam that thing. You can just spray the VOLK at people, whereas this weapon you have to be very accurate, you have to get your shots on target. If you miss one shot, you're done, because it fires so slow that you'll never get another shot on your target. So the VOLK Goliath, is it great? Not exactly. It's really one little tiny bonus for a lot of negatives. I didn't even mention that magazine size drops in half, cut completely in half. So the standard VOLK has 28 bullets in its magazine, and it's got 56 in reserve. The VOLK Goliath has 14 in its magazine and 28 in reserve. So you are losing quite a bit of ammo as well. You're going to have to run scavenger or rewind or something, but I would just recommend that you don't run the VOLK Goliath at all. There are better semi-automatic weapons in this game. The M1 is better than this. I don't like the M1 at all, but the M1 is better than this. The DMR1 Spectacle is better than this. The EBR800, really, it is a semi-automatic. It has quite a bit of kick, but it's better than this as far as semi-automatics go. This weapon is a very underwhelming designated marksman rifle variant of an assault rifle. It's kind of like an assault rifle that wants to be a DMR, but it's not quite there yet. It doesn't do enough damage to really put it into that area, and all of its negatives are really bringing it down. So it's got all the negatives of using a designated marksman rifle with barely any of the positives. This weapon either needs to have increased damage, like more. It has to be a 2-shot kill at all ranges, not 3-shot kill. Like, it drops to 3-shot kills very quickly. It would have to be a 2-shot kill at all ranges, or they are going to have to increase something about this. Like I said, change up that fire stop so that it's the original VOLK fire rate, like 483 rounds per minute. That's already pretty slow. If they made the fire rate of this weapon up to 483 so you could really spam it, it would work a lot better. But as for this weapon as it is, I would say stay away from this weapon. It's not worth your 4,000 salvage. If you do like longer range engagements, if you like playing stealth, I would not recommend that you put a suppressor on this weapon, even if you are playing stealth, because that will just exponentially increase the rate at which you will drop down to a 3-shot kill, because it's a very short distance before you drop up to a 3-shot kill. I would not run a suppressor, but it is a good stealth weapon for kind of like sneaking up behind people and getting them at long range or something like that. You cannot compete at close range. You cannot barrel stuff people with this weapon. The hip fire is awful. It's just not great for close range. It's not great for medium range, but at long range you can deal with enemies, but a sniper rifle or any of the other semi-automatic weapons in this game will still do better than this. But that is it for today's Epic Variant review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave me a like. Comment down below what you think of the VOLK Goliath. What is your favorite VOLK variant in the game? Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.